What happens when one of Hollywood's biggest stars sits down for what should be a routine interview only to find himself facing off against a host determined to ambush him with personal attacks? Well, you're about to witness one of the most explosive celebrity interviews ever recorded, where diplomatic answers turn into heated exchanges, and professional courtesy gets thrown out the window faster than you can say action. This is the story of how Tom Cruise went from promotional guest Tolkien controversy in less than 20 minutes, and why Joy Behar's aggressive attacks backfired spectacularly. But before we dive into this incredible confrontation, make sure you hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below, because this story has more twists than a Mission Impossible plot. The morning started routinely at the View studio. Tom Cruise arrived to promote his latest action thriller. Greeting the host backstage with his usual charm, Whoopi Goldberg handled the introduction with grace. Welcoming Tom to Thunderosapolis, he settled into his seat with relaxed confidence as Sarah Haynes kicked off the interview. "Tom, tell us about the training for these incredible stunts we see in the film," Sarah asked with genuine enthusiasm. Tom's face lit up immediately. Sarah, I spent months preparing for this. I work with the best stunt coordinators in the business. Andy really believed that when you do your own stunts, the audience can feel that authenticity. There's something about knowing that what you're seeing is real that makes the experience more visceral. Sunny host leaned forward with interest. "Speaking of real experiences, what was it like working with your co-stars on those intense action sequences?" "They were incredible," Tom replied, his enthusiasm building. "Every single person on that set brought their agame. When you're hanging from a helicopter or scaling a building, you need to trust the people around you completely. The collaborative spirit was just phenomenal." The conversation flowed naturally for several minutes, with Tom sharing behind-the-scenes stories and the audience clearly captivated. But Joy Behar had remained conspicuously silent, her arms folded, watching with an expression that seemed to be calculating. Finally, after nearly 10 minutes, Joy leaned forward. The shift in her posture immediately changed the energy in the room. Tom paused mid-sentence, noticing her movement, and the other hosts fell silent. Joy fixed Tom with a cold stare and spoke with an edge that cut through the warm atmosphere. "So, Tom, let's talk about something that I think our viewers really want to know about. Your involvement with Scientology has been controversial for years, and many people believe you use your celebrity status to recruit vulnerable people into what many consider a dangerous cult. How do you justify promoting an organization that has been accused of harassment, abuse, and breaking up families?" The studio fell completely silent. Sarah's mouth fell open while Sunny shifted uncomfortably. Whoopi's eyebrows shot up as she glanced at Between Joy and Tom. Tom's smile faded instantly, his entire demeanor shifting from relaxed to guarded. He sat back, his jaw tightening as he processed the attack. When he finally spoke, his voice was measured but firm. "Joy, I came here today to talk about my film and my work. I believe in religious freedom, and I have the right to practice my faith just like anyone else. I don't think it's appropriate to attack someone's personal beliefs on national television, especially when those beliefs have nothing to do with the project I'm here to promote." Joy leaned forward even more, her voice becoming more aggressive. "But, Tom, you can't just dismiss the legitimate concerns that people have. There are former members who have spoken out about abuse, about being separated from their families, about being subjected to what can online described as psychological torture. As a prominent spokesperson for his organization, don't you feel any responsibility for the pain that has been caused?" Tom's patience was clearly being tested, but he maintained his composure. "Joy, I think you're misinformed about a lot of things, and I don't appreciate using your platform to spread what amounts to bigotry against people's religious beliefs. I have never forced Yoni to do anything, and I resent the implication that I've somehow harmed people by practicing my faith." Joy's response was swift and cutting. "Bigotry? Really, Tom? Is it bigotry to ask hard questions about an organization that has faced numerous lawsuits, investigations, and has been banned in several countries? Is it bigotry to give a voice to people who say they were abused and traumatized? I think what's really happening here is that you can't handle being challenged in something you know is indefensible. Whoopi attempted to interject. Maybe Westhold? Joy cut her off with a sharp look and dismissive wave. No, Whoopi, this is important. Tom came on our show and our viewers deserve honest answers. Tom's face was beginning to show real anger now, his hands gripping the arms of his chair. Joy, I think you're being incredibly disrespectful, not just to Tom, but to millions of people who share me beliefs. You're taking isolated incidents and painting an entire religion with the same brush. That's the definition of prejudice, and I won't sit there and let you do it. Joy smiled coldly. Tom, I'm not attacking your right to believe whatever you want to believe. I'm questioning your judgment in promoting an organization that has hurt so many people. And frankly, you think your reaction right now proves that you know I'm right? If your beliefs were as pure and innocent as you claim, you wouldn't be getting so defensive. Tom's entire body language changed, cold fairy creeping into his voice. Defensive? You ambush me on national television with a coordinated attack on my personal beliefs, and you call my response offensive. Joy, what you're doing right now is exactly the kind of behavior that divides people and creates hatred where none should exist. Joy wasn't backing down. A coordinated attack, Tom? These are simple questions that any journalist would be asking. The fact that you're so uncomfortable answering them speaks volumes. Uncomfortable? Tom's voice was rising now. I'm not uncomfortable, Joy. I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted that you would use your position to attack someone's faith. I'm disgusted that you would ambush a guest who came here in good faith to talk about their work. Good faith? Joy lawed mockingly. Tom, you've been promoting this organization for decades. You've recruited people. You've defended practices that have destroyed families. Don't talk to me about good faith when you've been complicit in so much pain. Sarah tried to jump in. Maybe we could no, Tom interrupted, his voice now sharp and direct. Joy, you've crossed a line here. You've moved from asking questions to making accusations. You're not a journalist right now. You're a bully with a platform. Joy's eyes flashed with anger. A bully? Tom, I'm holding you accountable. Something that apparently doesn't happen very often in your world of yes men and SIC, KO pants. Accountable for what exactly? Tom shot back. For practicing my religion? For believing in something that gives my life meaning? Joy, you're attacking me for thought crimes? Thought crimes? Joyce coughed. Tom, when your thoughts lead to actions that hurt people, when your influence recruits vulnerable individuals into an organization that has documented cases of abuse, those aren't just thoughts anymore. The tension in the studio was now electric. Tom leaned forward, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. Joy, you're spreading lies and hatred, and you're redoing it under the guise of journalism. That's not just unprofessional, it is despicable. Joy's face hardened at Tom's accusation, her voice taking on uneven, sharper edge. Despicable. You want to talk about despicable, Tom? Let's talk about the families that haven't been torn apart. Let's talk about the people who have been harassed and stalked for speaking out. Let's talk about the children who have been separated from their parents. That's despicable. Tom's composure was slipping fast. Joy, you're taking the worst allegations, many of which have been proven false in court, and you're representing them as facts. That's not journalism. That's character assassination. Character assassination. Joy's voice rose. Tom, I'm using documented court cases, sworn testimonies, and FBI reports. These aren't allegations I'm making up. These are facts that have been established in legal proceedings. Sunny finally managed to interject, her voice nervous. Maybe we should take a different approach here. Joy whipped around to face her. No, Sunny, this is exactly the kind of conversation we should be having. When someone uses their celebrity status to promote something controls, they should be prepared to answer tough questions. Tom's eyes flashed with anger. Tough questions? Joy, you haven't asked me a single question about my actual involvement or my personal experience. You've just launched into accusations and character attacks. Fine, Joy said, leaning back with a smirk. Let me ask you directly, then. Have you ever personally witnessed any of the practices that former members describe? The disconnection policies, the forced labor, the punishment trousers. I'm not going to dignify that with a response, Tom replied coldly. Joy pounced immediately. See, you can't answer because you know the truth. You've seen it. You've participated in it, and you're too much of a coward to admit it. The word coward hit Tom like a physical blow. His face flushed red, and when he spoke, his voice was barely controlled. Did you just call him a coward? If the shoe fits, Joy replied with a shrug. A brave person would answer the question honestly. Whoopi tried desperately to regain control. Okay, let's everyone just take a breath here. No, Whoopi, Tom interrupted, his voice rising. I want to hear Joy explain how a skinksimion to violate their religious confidentiality makes them brave. Joy lawed mockingly, religious confidentiality? Is that what you call it when you're covering up abuse? That's it, Tom said, starting to rise from his chair. I don't have to sit here and listen to this. Sit down, Tom, Joy commanded. You don't get to run away from this conversation just because it's getting uncomfortable. Tom slowly sat back down, but his entire body was tense with barely contained rage. Joy, I've been in this business for over 40 years. I've sat through thousands of interviews, including some very difficult ones, but I've never in my entire career encountered someone as disrespectful and unprofessional as you're being right now. Unprofessional. Joy's voice dripped with sarcasm. Tom, what's unprofessional is using your fame to recruit people into an organization that destroys lives. What's unprofessional is taking money from an institution that has been accused of human trafficking. Human trafficking? Tom's voice was incredulous. Joy, now you're just making things up. Am I? Joy shot back. What do you call it when people are forced to work for little or no pay? When they're prevented from leaving? When their passports are taken away? Sarah tried again to intervene. I think maybe we should. Sarah, please, Joy snapped. This is important. Tom needs to answer for his actions. Tom's jaw was clenched so tight it looked painful. Joy, you're describing labor violations that could happen in any organization. You're not describing my religion, your religion. Joy's voice was mocking. Tom, is it part of your religion to harass journalists who write critical stories? Is it part of your religion to hire private investigators to follow former members? I have never done any of those things, Tom said through gritted teeth. Maybe not personally, Joy replied. But you're certainly funding the organization that does. Tom leaned forward, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. Joy, you're accusing him of criminal behavior based on conspiracy theories and debunked allegations. That's not just unprofessional. It's potential illicit. Joy's eyes lit up with excitement. Are you threatening to sue me, Tom? Is that how your organization handles criticism with lawsuits and intimidation? I'm not threatening anything, Tom replied. I'm simply pointing out that you're making false accusations against me on national television. False accusations. Joy lawed, Tom, everything I've said is a matter of public record. If you want to sue me for reporting facts, go ahead. It wouldn't be the first time your organization has tried to silence the critics through the legal system. Sunny looked increasingly uncomfortable. Joy, maybe we should focus on Tom's movie, his movie? Joy interrupted. Sunny, how can we talk about his movie when he's using the profits to fund an organization that allegedly abuses people? Tom's patience finally snapped completely. Allegedly, Joy, you've been stating these things as facts for the past 10 minutes. And now, suddenly, they're allegations. Their allegations have been corroborated by hundreds of witnesses, Joy shot back. Witnesses who have been discredited in court, Tom countered. Some have been discredited, Joy admitted. But certainly not all of them. And the pattern of behavior is consistent across decades of testimony? Tom shook his head in disgust. Joy, you're using the same tactics that were used against Jewish people in the 1930s. Take a few isolated incidents, ignore context, and use them to demonize an entire group. The comparison to 1930s persecution of Jewish people caused inaudible gasps from the audience. Joy's face went white with rage. Did you just compare my questions to Nazi propaganda? Joy's voice was shaking with anger. I compared your tactics, Tom replied coldly. The way you're presenting for me in? The way you're ignoring evidence that contradicts your narrative. The way you're using fear and hatred to attack a religious minority. Joy was practically sputtering with rage. Tom, that is the most offensive thing I have ever heard on this show. You're comparing legitimate journalism Nazi propaganda because I'm asking you hard questions about an organization that has hurt people. Legitimate journal? Tom's voice was incredulous. Joy, you haven't presented a single piece of evidence. You've just made accusations and demanded that I prove a negative. I don't need to present evidence, Joy replied. The evidence is out there for anyone who wants to look at it. Then why didn't you bring any outfit with you today? Tom asked pointedly. Joy faltered for a moment, then recovered, because I assumed you would be honest about your involvement instead, off deflecting and making offensive comparisons. Tom stood up abruptly, his scare scraping loudly against the floor. Joy, I came here to promote my film. I came here expecting professionalquis about my work. Instead, I've been subjected to a religious inquisition based on lies and conspiracy theories. Sit down, Tom, Joy demanded. We're not finished here. Tom remained standing, his voice cold and final. Yes, Joy, we are finished. I will not sit there and be attacked for my religious beliefs by someone who clearly has an agenda. Joy's voice rose to almost ash out. My agenda is the truth, Tom. My agenda is giving a voice to people who have been silenced and abused. Your agenda, Tom replied, is ratings? You're using people's pain to create a controversy and drama for your television show? The accusation hung in the air like a bombshell. Joy's face went through several expressions before settling on pure fury. How dare you, she whispered, her voice trembling with rage. How dare you suggest that I would exploit victims for ratings? Tom looked down at Joy with ice in his eyes. Joy, everything you've done in the last 15 minutes has been designed to create a viral moment. You've abandoned any pretense of journalism in favor of tabloid sensationalism. Tabloid sensationalism. Joy's voice cracked with indignation. Tom, I'm asking. Questions that need to be asked? Questions that other interviewers are too hysteric or too intimidated to ask. No, Tom replied firmly. You're grandstanding. You're using your platform to bully someone whose beliefs you disagree with, and you are hiding behind the pretense of journalism to justify it. Joy shot up from her chair, now standing face to face with Tom. Bully? You want to talk about bullying? What? About the people who have been followed, harassed, and intimidated for speaking out against your organization? What about the journalists who have been shooed into silence? I have never bullied anyone, Tom said through clenched teeth, maybe not directly. Joy fired back. But you fund the people who do. Every dollar you give them, every endorsement you'll make, every recruitment you participate in makes you complicit. Tom's voice dropped to a deadly whisper. Joy, you're accusing me of being complicit in criminal activity. You're doing it without evidence. And you're doing it to millions of viewers. That's not journalism, that's defamation. Defamation? Joy laughed bitterly. Tom. Truth is a defense against defamation, and the truth is that your organization has a documented history of abuse. Documented by whom? Tom demanded, disgruntled former members with axes toggered. Tabloid journalists looking for sensational stories. Lawyers trying to make money from frivolous lawsuits. Joy's eyes blazed. Documented by the FBI, by court records, by sworn testimony under oath. Are you suggesting that federal law enforcement agencies and court systems are part of some vast conspiracy against your religion? I'm suggesting, Tom said slowly, that you're taking isolated incidents and using them to paint an entire religion as criminal. That's bigotry, Joy, pure and simple bigotry. Joy's voice rose to a near shriek. Tom, it's not bigotry to hold people accountable for their actions. It's not bigotry to ask hard questions about organizations that have hurt people. Whoopi finally managed to interject forcefully. Okay, I think we need to take a commercial break. No, Joy whirled around her face. Sophie, we are not taking a break. Tom needs to answer these questions. Tom stared at Joy in disbelief. I don't need to answer anything, Joy. This isn't a court of law, and you're in it, prosecutor. Maybe not, Joy replied. But our viewers deserve to know how they're supporting when they buy tickets to your movies. The comment hit Tom like a physical blow. His face went completely white, then flushed red with rage. Are you seriously suggesting fat people should boycott my films because of my religious beliefs? I'm suggesting, Joy said with a cold smile, that people should make informed decisions about where their money goes. Tom was shaking with anger now. Joy, what you're advocating for is religious discrimination. You're telling people to judge my professional work based on my personal faith. Your personal faith, Joy shot back, becomes a public issue when you use your celebrity status to promote it. I have the right to talk about my beliefs, Tom replied, just like you have the right to talk about yours. My beliefs, Joy said pointedly, don't involve an organization that has been accused of human rights violations. Tom's control finale shattered completely. Accused, Joy, accused, not convicted, not proven, accused. And you're treating these accusations as facts because they are facts. Joy insisted. Multiple accusers, consistent patterns of behavior, documented evidence, documented lies. Tom exploded. Joy, you're spreading propaganda and you're redoing it because you hate what I believe in. Joy smiled triumphantly, as if Tom's outburst was exactly what she'd been waiting for. There it is, the real Tom Cruise. Not the charming movie star, but angry cult member who can't handle criticism. The word cult was the final straw. Tom's face went completely cold, and when he spoke, his voice was dangerously quiet. Joy, you just crossed a line that you can never uncross. What line? Joy taunted. The line where I tell your organization what it really is? Tom began unbuttoning his microphone with deliberate, controlled movements. The line where you abandon any pretense of journalism and reveal yourself to be nothing more than a bigot with a television show. Don't you dare walk away from me, Joy commanded, her voice arising. Don't you dare run away when the conversation gets difficult. Tom finished removing his microphone and placed it carefully on his chair. Joy, this stopped being a conversation. The moment you decided to attack my religion instead of asking about my work. Your work? Joy's voice was mocking. How can we separate your work from your beliefs when your beliefs involve supporting an organization that destroys families? Tom looked directly into the camera, addressing the audience instead of Joy. Ladies and gentlemen, I came here today to talk about a film that I'm proud of made with talented people who work incredibly hard. Instead, I've been subjected to a religious attack based only on prejudice. Joy was practical iscriam now. Tom, you can't just make a speech and walk away. You owe these viewers an explanation. Tom turned back to Joy one final time. I owe your viewers entertainment, Joy. That's what they tune in for. What you've given them today is hatred and division, and I won't be part of it. Hatred? Joy's voice cracked. Tom, the only hatred here is coming from an organization that has torn apart countless families and destroyed countless lives. Tom was already walking toward the edge of the stage. Joy, the only hatred I see is coming from you. You've spent the last 20 minutes attacking someone for their religious beliefs, and you've done it under the guise of journalism. That's not just unprofessional, it's un-American. Un-American? Joy called after him. Tom, was un-Americans using your fame to recruit Pia Planto, a dangerous organization? Tom paused at the edge of the stage and turned back one final time. Joy, what's un-Americas? Using your platform to spread religious bigotry? What's un-American is ambushing a guest with character assassination disguised as journalism? What's un-American is trying to destroy Simeon's career because you disagree with their personal beliefs. Joy was following him now, her voice desperate and shrill. Tom, these aren't personal beliefs when they affect other people, when your organization hurts people, when it breaks up families, when it silences critics. Those aren't personal beliefs anymore. Tom stopped walking and fist her one last time. Joy, everything you've accused me of today has been based on allegations, rumors, and conspiracy theories. You haven't presented a single piece of concrete evidence, and you've ignored everything you've said in my defense. That's not journalism, that's a witch hunt. A witch hunt? Joy's voice was incredulous. Tom, I'm asking legitimate questions that any responsible journalist should ask. No, Joy, Tom replied with finality. You're conducting a public execution based on your personal prejudices, and I won't be your victim. With that, Tom Cruise walked off the stage, leaving Joy Behar standing alone, still shouting after him as the cameras continued to roll. The studio audience sat in stunned silence, witnessing the aftermath of Onuf, the most explosive celebrity interviews in television history. Joy turned back to the remaining hosts, her face flushed with anger and something that might have been embarrassment. The silence stretched on for what felt like an eternity before Whoopi finally managed to speak. "Well, Whoopi, say quietly, I think we definitely need that commercial break now." And that's how one of Hollywood's biggest stars went, from promotional guest to walking controversy in less than 20 minutes. All because Joy Behar decided that her personal agenda was more important than professional journalism. The question is, do y'all think Tom was right to walk away, or should he have stayed and continued to defend himself? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and make sure y'all subscribe for more incredible celebrity mints that you won't see anywhere.